Hello, this is Darrell Castle with today's Castle Report. This is Friday, the third day of April in the year of our Lord 2026. I'm very happy today that I have something to talk about besides war. This is, in fact, Good Friday, and in honor of that date, and with Easter Sunday just a couple of days away, I turn my attention away from the pressing issue of war and look at Christians and Christianity as we near the end of Holy Week. First, I want to say a few words about the title of this Castle Report and where that title comes from, especially since we are currently in the 250th anniversary year of America. My argument is that the founders, rather than trying to build a utopian perfect world, were seeking the restoration of liberties they once had. The Declaration, written by Thomas Jefferson but inspired by the thinking and writing of John Locke and by the life and words of Jesus Christ as expressed by Jefferson as nature's God, reflect that desire for the return of liberty. They had witnessed the excesses of the French Revolution and the results of mob rule, or what we call today democracy. And they sought to build something based on the rights of the individual rather than the collective. And that is what, for individuals, is called liberty. They sought a way to protect the lives they had built in their world and the lives they fought for from the reach of foreign imperial rule. That is one reason why I cringe when America today goes abroad to impose its will on others, especially when there seems to be no provocation for that imposition. Speaking of foreign imperial rule, an incident occurred this past Palm Sunday. In the ancient city of Jerusalem in modern-day Israel, there is a church located in the Christian quarter of the city known as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. That church was built in the 4th century on the site where Jesus' empty tomb was believed to be located. In other words, it's about 1,800 years old, and it is one of the holiest sites in all of Christendom. It is simultaneously the seat of the Armenian, Greek Orthodox, and Catholic patriarchs of Jerusalem, the Greek Orthodox, the Armenian, and the Catholic. Last Sunday, Palm Sunday, those gentlemen wanted to go inside the church to do a simulcast to their congregations on that Palm Sunday, but they were barred from doing so by the Israeli police. The announcement was made that it was, quote, for security reasons, end quote. But no synagogues were closed that day for security reasons. The church has a long history of remaining open always. Even during 2 world wars, it remained open, so the explanation was at the very least doubtful. Denial of the church to the people was so outrageous that even U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee was critical. Huckabee, usually a spokesperson for the Israeli government, so his words stung a little, I suppose. My understanding is that when Israeli authorities heard his mild rebuke, they rescinded the order. I don't know if that's true or not, but in any event, the Palm Sunday opportunity to minister to their worldwide congregations was lost. Meanwhile, back in America, a couple of incidents happened this Holy Week that are worthy of note. A young professional basketball player named Jaden Ivey lost his job because of his refusal to remain silent in the face of what he considered to be intimidation by his team regarding its affiliation with the LGBTQ community of activists, and especially Pride Month, celebrated by America in June. Jaden was raised in a basketball family. I suppose it's in his DNA because his mother is currently the head basketball coach of the Notre Dame women's team. He had a stellar college career. He was drafted by the Detroit Pistons, where he spent several seasons. He also was selected to play on the U.S. national junior team. In February of this year, he was traded to the Chicago Bulls, where he played 4 games before suffering a season-ending knee injury. He started to speak out against what he considered to be forced imposition of the LGBTQ agenda within the NBA. He said as a committed Christian, he considers it, quote, unrighteous, end quote. He said a few other things, such as he thought Catholicism to be a false religion. He made all these comments on his private Twitter account, but if you're an NBA player, nothing you say is private. So the Bulls quickly released him. To their credit, they didn't try to lie and say it was because of his injury. They announced the reason as conduct detrimental to the team, which triggers a clause in his contract that permits them to release him without paying his contract balance. So they are in effect saying that expressing one's Christian faith is conduct detrimental to the team. The problem for Jaden is that with a knee injury, no one will sign him until they see proof of complete recovery. So he should consider filing a lawsuit for religious discrimination and recovery of the balance of his contract. My guess is that on the contract issue, at least they would pay him, but that's just a guess. So Christians are not welcome in the NBA, or at least not vocal Christians. It would be some justice if no Christians bought tickets or watched the team on TV. So we will see if that happens. People voice their disapproval, but nothing will change until we stop buying tickets. The Christian persecution, so evident in the NBA, is also affected the NFL. Yes, that's right, folks. The mighty NFL bends its knee to the even mightier LGBTQ lobby. It seems that Jaden had some friends in the NFL who knew him and who respected his Christian faith. A player named Trevion Henderson with the New England Patriots chimed in on his friend's behalf. Quote, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Matthew 5:10. End quote. Well, that created quite a stir. In his required news conference, Coach Mike Vrabel of the New England Patriots was asked about it. He made a long statement about how much he liked and respected Trevion and how he said, "We want them," meaning players, I guess, "to be able to express themselves, but we want them to be," quote, "educated," end quote. My guess is that Trevion's education matches up quite well with the coach. So I submit that what he really meant was re-educated. Perhaps the NFL is trying to bend to communist China as the NBA has done. I understand they do quite a bit of re-educating in North Korea as well. The Germans used to call it ideological education. So Coach Vrabel is in good company when he wants his players to be educated. There seems to be a growing number of players across professional sports who are Christian. More and more, they're willing to say it publicly, but it is very obvious that their leagues and this modern immoral society would prefer that they remain silent. Well, this is Easter weekend. I'm paraphrasing now. But when Jesus rode into Jerusalem and the people cheered him, the Pharisees said, "Rebuke your disciples." Then he replied, "If they remain silent, the stones along the road will praise me." Finally, folks, I bring this Good Friday Castle report to an end with a statement, just a feeling really. That feeling is that there's something going on here, something going on in this world right now that is different than what we've experienced before. Not just the open persecution of Christians or the obvious belief that the persecution is okay or even desirable, but the fact that this Mideast war seems different. It seems different to me than the other stupid nonsense wars that we fought. The major religions of the world are looking at it from different positions, and they see it through different books, but they are saying this might be something. This might be what our book has been telling us. The restoration of liberty would be a good help, though. That's my opinion, at least. That's the way I see it. Until next time, folks, this is Darrell Castle. Thanks for listening.